Donald Trump is a joke, both at home, of course, but on the world stage, and everybody sees it. While he's trying to present himself as the deal maker, the peacemaker, the negotiator, something that Donald Trump just isn't. We all know what he's really after. Constant praise, adoration, the things that he never got from his parents and have made, oh, little baby Donald so sad. But that's the reason his desire for praise that Zelensky really let him down today in their meeting, because Donald Trump wanted a glowing review of how amazing Donald Trump is, and Zelensky gave him the opposite, mocking him even to his face. We're going to get into it all, and the rest of what came out of this presser. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how Zelensky responded to Donald Trump, I want to start with what Donald Trump is focused on attacking and lying about Democrats.
In the Middle East, and
I think right now the Democrats are really damaged, mentally damaged. They want to take $1.5 trillion with a T, $1 trillion, and give it to people that invaded our country. They came into our country illegally, from prisons, from mental institutions, gang members. They want to give them health care and take it away from our citizens. We're not going to do that. $1.5 trillion. They want to destroy our healthcare system. We're not going to.
Now we know that Donald Trump is extra perturbed. He's a little extra upset lately, knowing that tomorrow is going to be the biggest anti-Trump protest in history, No King's Day. And I hope you have signed up. Donald Trump is now doing the best he can to not just attack and lie about Democrats, but he wants to incite violence against us. It's the reason he's been talking so much more about individual protesters, groups that help organize any effort to push back against this administration, as if they are the devil that their sorrows funded, that they're paid opposition. It's not true, Donald. We hate you for free, and it's a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing it tomorrow. But of course, Donald Trump, in his feelings as he is, had to start bragging about shit that's not true, like the new number of wars that he's ended. Just take a ridiculous look.
It's the president, and the president. Okay, 3 presidents, and I'm the mediator president, and I'm mediating not an easy situation. It should be easy, but it's a lot easier when people understand each other, when they get together, and when they like each other. We don't necessarily have that situation as far as like is concerned. Maybe it can turn around, maybe it can, but in the meantime, we'll have them keep a little bit of distance, and we're going to see if we can get it done. This is number 9, okay? This will be number 9 for me. I've solved 8, including the Middle East. I've solved 8.
So we're up to 9 wars now. Now it's 9 wars. Like, how are we counting these wars? Every day, it's like, it's 7, but it's 8, but it's 9, and I love the wars. And he's like making up new countries that aren't in conflict. The other day he was talking about Iran and Pakistan and a war that he settled, but it's just, which didn't happen. But I guess if you're trying to bump up the numbers, you kind of have to. But speaking of war, and before we get into Zelensky's take on Trump's negotiating ability, I want to start with Donald Trump not even knowing about the secret war he's launching in Venezuela.
Boat strike. What happens to those survivors?
Well, I'll ask Marco to discuss that possibly.
Yeah, it's well known there's an ongoing narco-terrorist operation the United States has been conducting. As far as details of any recent strikes, we're not prepared here to announce all those details, but you'll get that information here very shortly.
And how are there survivors when these are meant to be lethal attacks?
Yeah, again, I mean, we're undertaking these operations against narco-terrorists. That's what these are. These are terrorists. Let's be clear. And but as far as the details of any recent operations, when we are prepared to announce those, we will, as the president has consistently done. So you may get something on that later.
So you're telling me that this guy right here, who always has to throw to Marco or Hegseth or Besson Bondi, has his finger on the pulse. Every conservative right now is praising Mr. Trump for brokering a ceasefire agreement that Israel actually hasn't agreed to and isn't living up to. They're still indiscriminately killing Palestinians. But Donald Trump has no idea what's going on in a war that he's launching, which is why it's no surprise that Zelensky mocked the idea of Donald Trump as the deal maker right here.
President Trump, earlier in the week, we heard a lot about the difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Joe Biden before him. What do you see as the biggest difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Biden?
President Trump has a big chance now to finish this war. President Biden now is not the president, so he doesn't have a chance to finish this war. And President Trump is really showed for the world that he can manage ceasefire in Middle East, and that's why I hope that he will do this, and we will also have such big success. For Ukraine, it's a big chance, and I hope that President Trump can manage it.
I would say the biggest difference is one is extremely competent and the other one is grossly incompetent.
You can just see how much it upsets Trump that Zelensky didn't immediately say, well, Joe Biden. I don't know why Zelensky would be doing Trump points, but, he wanted him to be like, Joe Biden is a terrible guy, and we don't like Joe, and he only wanted to support our defensive liberal democracy abroad. But Zelensky, he's really just making fun of Trump by being like, I don't know, Joe Biden is not president. Why are we focused on Joe Biden? Why is this guy always talking about Joe Biden? What does Joe Biden have to do for this? My people are suffering right now. How about you care about that, you fucking asshole? Seriously, Donald Trump has set up his stooges. You saw someone in a clip that I'm not even going to play because it was so ridiculous. A Lindell TV reporter. Yes, Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy who was off the sauce or on the sauce, something with the sauce. He, had a problem with using certain substances. And yeah, Mike Lindell got his own TV channel, I guess now. But this reporter was pushing Zelensky to praise Trump and ask what he wanted to give up to Putin. Nothing he shouldn't have to. We should be working to make sure that's the case. It is clear that Putin has been losing this war the whole time and is incredibly weak, which is why this question was asked of Trump about Tomahawk missiles that he has refused to authorize to send over to Ukraine, and he attacks Zelensky for it.
So do you consider providing Ukraine with the Tomahawk or similar missiles as an opportunity to equalize the possibilities of Ukraine and Russia and push Moscow to the negotiation table?
Sure. We're going to be talking about that. That's why we're here. Okay? Fair question. Exactly as he told you to say it, but we're going to be talking about it.
So Donald Trump hasn't engaged nearly enough as he might claim to. In the recent weeks, we saw at the UN that Donald Trump, one, changed his mind about how he wants to follow the course of this war, and he started calling Russia a paper tiger. I always bring up that post of his in which he admitted that he's such a fucking moron that he had just in that day a couple weeks ago, last month. Donald Trump admitted that he just now understands the military and economic conditions on the ground in this war, that the guy who has been talking nonstop about how he's going to end this conflict didn't actually know what was going on, that he now fully understood it. And so now he's going to listen to what we've been saying, and some Republicans have been saying about the real circumstances in this war, that Russia is losing, that Russia is weak, that Ukraine is embarrassing them. And if you gave them even a small bit of support, we would have an incredible investment in our ally to beat back Putin. And we should want to beat that fucking war criminal. But no, anyone who sends Donald Trump a nice little fruit basket, maybe some gold, and bats their eyelashes at him. No, Donald Trump immediately falls in love. It shows his weakness. Donald Trump is weak. He is the picture of weakness. And it's the reason why the No New Wars president has launched one at home, trying to intimidate you and I from opposition, from speaking up, from organizing and protest. He's doing it right now in Chicago, and J.B. Pritzker called it all out.
Donald Trump has diminished capacity, which I think is sad, that the people around him are not getting him help, and instead they're just taking advantage of him. And that's what Stephen Miller is. You can tell, his rhetoric is so out of bounds. And then we know that he's the one who is advising Kristi Noem at DHS. He's the one who's advising Tom Homan, who's the kind of immigration czar, deportation czar. And of course, he's the spokesperson for this entire endeavor, including about deploying National Guard into cities. So, seems like a dangerous individual, and he has the power of the presidency because the president isn't reining him in. And so that's why I'm talking about Stephen Miller. I think that we should focus on his actions. And let's remember, and I've said this for some time, they're not always going to be in office, but they will, other than the president who's now been given immunity by the Supreme Court. The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration.
I will not allow this narrative from the right that Donald Trump is a peace president to exist for even a second. We are going to continue to call it out on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. keep on fighting. I'm excited to see y'all at No Kings tomorrow. Don't let him silence y'all. And until next time, I'll see you soon.